Welcome to our channel. We are Technic Force and we help grow your business online. Please hit the subscribe button to get more updates. What is structured data in SEO and how to implement it? Have you guys ever searched something on Google and found results that look a little different? Maybe you're looking for recipes and you get this specific section where you get some star ratings, you get the number of reviews, how long it's going to take to cook that specific recipe, and more. Or maybe you've seen results on Google that have different types of star ratings, all these votes, and then also an FAQ attached to it. Or if you've looked for movies or events, you might have seen this type of result on Google. So all of these are rich results. And there's actually a whole series of them that we can take a look at in this article written by Google. So all these different types of rich results are results that we can be a part of, right? So if we have a book that we're selling, we can show different breadcrumbs, carousels, courses, data sets, events, it goes on and on. So I'm going to link this specific URL in the description so you guys can check that out. And if you want to take part on these rich results and get your own rich results and rich snippets, we need to use structured data. So what is structured data? Structured data is a really small piece of code that we can add to our website that helps Google understand the content that we're looking at. Structured data usually looks something like this. It can be inserted somewhere into the page and helps machines such as Googlebot and others to better understand the content. Structured data can come in the form of microdata in the HTML, RDFA, or JSON LD. We recommend JSON LD though. Let me show you guys what this actually looks like. And just bear with me, we're going to take a look at some code, but I'm going to break this down with you guys so you can understand exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about structured data. I'm going to take this example. NYC parking, and I'm going to open up the page and I'm going to go to the page source. I'm just going to command fschema.org. I'm going to copy and paste a couple of things onto a Google Doc so we can see exactly what we're working with. I'm going to take this right here. So I'm going to paste that there, and then I'm also going to take another piece of schema, which is this one right here. So let's separate this a little bit. So we see that we have a piece of text that's talking about an aggregate rating. And so if we separate this out a little bit, we're going to see that we have a specific rating value and a rating count. So if we actually go back to the search result and we see that we have this rating that's 4.8 and 146,000 votes, if we go back into this Google Doc, we're going to see what's actually present. So that little piece of code that we found right now is exactly what's coming up in the search result. So we have that 4.8 and 146,000 rating counts or votes. And then another thing that we have here is this FAQ. So is parking suspended today in NYC? And we're going to see if we separate this out a little bit as well. So we have this question and then we have this answer. So question, let me just make this bold so you guys can see it and then answer. So the question is, parking suspended today in NYC. And then the answer is the following, right? So this is exactly what's being brought up in that search result. And this is something that we can play around with. So this is exactly what structured data looks like. It's just a little piece of code. And if we break it down like what we just did, it's not as scary as it might seem. But guys, do we need to add this type of structured data? I thought search engines were smart enough to understand what we're talking about. So even though search engines have been getting smarter over the years, they still can't read blog posts and view images and understand things as easily as we can from a glance. So by using structured data, we provide an additional level of support to help Google understand what we're talking about just a little bit better. I'm going to give you guys an example later that's going to help you visualize this concept. But on to the next thing, guys. How do we add this to our website and what do we even add to our website? So this is where we go to schema.org. This is an initiative that was started by Google, by Bing, and by Yahoo to basically dictate how we add structured data and what the language is going to look like, what that markup looks like. So if we actually go to schema.org, this is where we're going to find everything relating to structured data. So if you click on the docs, what we're interested in here is the schemas, and here we can jump directly into. We can check out a book, maybe a movie, and we're going to use the recipe example later. So this is going to tell us exactly what we need to provide to have that structured data for this specific type of schema or type of property that we're looking at. So if you want to have a structured data for a book, then this is exactly what we need to provide. So for now, all we need to do is just take a look at this section right here where it says properties from book. Anything under that right now is in super relevant. These are all the things that we can add to that structured data for that book, right? So we have book edition, So editing of the book, the format, the illustrator, the ISBN if you'd like, and the number of pages. Once we have that set up on our website, that's then going to come up in the search engine results page. Another example, let's take a look at movie. So properties from movie again, we only need to check it out until all the way down here. And these are all the things that we can talk about for the structured data for a movie. So an actor is telling us exactly what it is. So actors can be associated with individual items in a series, the country of origin, the director, duration, music by, all these other things. And then finally, we're going to take a look at this example. So properties from recipe, right? So we have the cooking time, cooking method, nutrition, category, cuisine, and again, we have the description on the right if we're not exactly sure what we need to provide. We also have a separate property of a how-to. This is also applicable not just to recipes, but basically to anything when you're teaching someone how to do that specific thing. And then we have another subset of properties for that type of schema. Now I know this might look scary, guys, but if we break it down piece by piece, it actually isn't scary as it seems. We're just providing a little bit of extra data just to help Google understand what we're talking about. But the question is, how do we actually add this to our website? So directly on schema.org, it will give us 3 different ways that we can add to our website. So if we scroll all the way down to any of the schema types, we're going to have different examples and how they're going to look in different markups. And markups are different ways of providing that data. We don't have to worry about that too much. So we see down here, we're looking at an example of a recipe, and we see that the example we're looking at now, it says no markup, right? So this is just a plain old HTML without any markup. So we have world famous banana bread. There's an image by John Smith. This is the prep time, the cook time, the yield, so on and so forth. So this is the example that I was talking about, guys. Right now, if Google were to see this specific page, they would read that text and they would understand it to a certain extent. When we set up the structured data and we tell it exactly what each piece of this recipe is, it's going to understand that this is a recipe a lot better. So there's 3 different ways, 3 different markups that we could use to present that structured data. Again, we have microdata, RDFA, and JSON-LD. If we actually check out one Google's documents about understanding how structured data works, and if we scroll all the way down, we're going to see that JSON-LD is actually the recommended markup, the recommended way that we want to present structured data to our website. So again, let's go back to that recipe. Now we want to take a look at JSON-LD, and this is exactly what we saw in that previous example of the parking example. We saw the aggregate rating and the FAQs. This is how it was set up. So now we're breaking down that recipe, and we have these different layers of properties of that specific recipe, and Google can understand this a lot better. So we know that type of schema is a recipe, the author is John Smith, the cook time, the date published, the description, and the ingredients. So now Google understands that this is specifically talking about an ingredient, and it's in the structure that they can read and they can understand a lot better. So even though this might sound really complicated and really technical, it's really important to understand why we use schema and how we add it to our website. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out our previous videos and see you in the next one. Before we end, let me introduce to you the world's fastest and 100% mobile responsive builder. Create landing pages, funnels, lead pages, memberships, corporate sites, and more in just a few clicks. Build your successful online business without breaking a sweat. Create beautiful web pages. Click and modify, no coding required. Create funnels with upsells, downsells, and order bumps. Grab leads and send emails. Supports all major payment gateways and memberships. 30 plus ready-made funnel and opt-in templates, email marketing using inbuilt autoresponder, membership system to create free or paid memberships. Easy one-click install, no coding or knowledge of hosting required. So get Cloud Funnels now. Just go to yournextfunnel.in. I hope you find this video helpful, and thanks for watching.